a former member of the Parliament of Norway, a dear friend of the Iranian resistance. Please welcome Mr. Lars Rise.
Your Excellencies, Madam Rajavi, friends in Ashraf and all over the world, I am tremendously honored and pleased to participate in this very important online meeting. I would like to congratulate the NCRI, PMOI, and Madam Rajavi for the very successful global summit that was held 2 days ago, with an amazing impact on everyone who heard the news inside and outside Iran. And I myself and my family were very pleased to be part of that event. That summit was a good indication of strong internal roots of the Iranian resistance movement led by Mrs. Rajavi, as well as international support. The topic for today's meeting, the call for justice for the 1988 massacre that remains unpunished, is very important. Other speakers talked about the importance of the accountability and the necessity to bring the perpetrators before justice in international courts. I fully agree with all of that. Without accountability, the Iranian regime's crimes will continue. This is a regime that is used to have no rule of law. One of the main reasons that in spite of over 60 United Nations resolutions condemning human rights violations in Iran, crimes of this regime still go on is because Iran's rulers have not been held accountable and have not been punished yet for the horrible crime they committed in 1988. Murder, which I think is very important at this moment. There is a truth in the 1988 massacre, or I must say this genocide. The truth is, Iran's criminal rulers massacred those affiliated with the PMOI because the PMOI's goal was extremely popular amongst the Iranians. After the massacre, they tried to conceal this truth by Goebbels' kind of big lies. They murdered 30,000 political prisoners, mostly of the PMOI, in 1988. Then they started bullying everyone in the country not to use the word PMOI, or they could lose their heads. Then they started telling the West the big lie that the PMOI was not popular in the Iranian society, and this is what we hear all the time today. Mullah said, "Don't you see that no one uses their name? People don't like them. Don't you see?" As instructed by the Nazi Minister of Propaganda, they said a lie big enough and kept repeating it for long enough to be believed. And unfortunately, it was believed by our governments in the West, and I have spoken to many of my colleagues. They have read the propaganda coming out of the Ministry of Intelligence, and especially the Department of Hypocrisy. And it has been believed by those who were eager to continue their relationship with the Iranian regime for making more profit. Actually, I'm sitting now in the Nazi headquarters, where 70 German officers were planning building of a fortress to protect the exit road for ships that should transport the heavy water in order for Adolf Hitler to build the nuclear bomb. But only 10 to 15 kilometers from where I'm sitting right now, there were resistance cells in the resistance movement, and my grandfather was part of this, and we know that the resistance movement prevailed. In the end, they were winning over this cruel regime, and it's a good reminder today to know that those who stand for truth and justice will prevail in the end. The Nazi philosophy is in use every day in Tehran, and it's being spread all over the world. And therefore, it is very important to bring the responsible to justice. It is a must for the international community to forcefully take up this case of the 1988 massacres to the international tribunals, to pursue justice and to let the Iranian savage rulers know that it will not be fooled and exploited by them. And I hope very much that at the time when pro-PMOI posters and pictures of Mariam and Masoud Rajavi are all over the place in Iran, and the Iranians are shouting loud enough that they do not want a clerical regime in Iran, the international community wakes up to see who is popular inside Iran and who is most hated by the Iranian people. Actually, we also saw in Norway that at the end of the German rule here, in the spring of 1945, suddenly many became part of the resistance movement. A couple of months before the Germans left, it increased enormously. And almost everybody wanted to say, yeah, we were part of the resistance. So this brings an ethical duty for the United Nations, the United Nations Human Rights Council, and the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights to seek justice for the 1988 massacre. I wish you all the best for the continued struggle. Congratulations to Madam Rajavi and to all of you who are perseverant in the struggle for a free Iran. Thank you very much.